for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Well. Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke Radio. For the masses. Yeah. Today's Monday, October 5th, 2020. We are live. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of beautiful downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planets. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? What a weekend. Yeah, man. All right. Yeah. Wow, what a week we've got lined up on the show. It's going to be an amazing week. And capped off, I'm just going to let everybody know, it's not a big surprise at this point. This weekend is my birthday. And, yeah. Right? And my birthday falls on a Saturday. It don't get no better than that. It just doesn't. What, this year my birthday's on a Wednesday? Yeah, you know, we all go through it. Not this year, though. Not this year. My birthday's on Saturday. Really looking forward to this week on the show. And then getting to this weekend, we've got a few special things lined up. And I look forward to finally being able to see some friends and throw down a little bit. You know, I don't throw down like I used to. Yeah, you know, I just don't. I don't. I remember, though, I think it was Gigi. It was about, and I love this when kids do this. I think it was 5 or 6 years ago. And we rented, Rita and I, I'm not making this up. We rented a trailer, a mobile home. And it was a nice one, but it was a mobile home. Okay, I'm not gonna lie about that. And it was a double wide. No, wait, Rita, that was a single wide, wasn't it? We rented a single wide with a patio and a backyard. But anyway, Gigi starts talking all this smack, and we had about 25, 30, 40 fader knots over, and we're having a good time. We're eating and drinking and doing our thing in the backyard. And Gigi comes up with a bottle of vodka. I think it was a bottle of vodka in one hand and like Fireball or that cinnamon whiskey in the other. Okay, church, let's go. And he had a couple of shot glasses. I was like, Gigi, you don't want to mess with this, man. Oh, no, you don't want to mess with this. he started talking all that youngster crap, right? Smack, youngster smack. And an hour later, and we have pictures, an hour later, oh, he just popped up at Twitter. Gigi's listening. Gigi said, oh, man, here we go again with this story. That's right, Gigi. An hour later, Gigi was face planted on the table, out. Party went on for like 5 hours after that. And Gigi, but I just don't do that anymore. Not like that. I can, though, if somebody wants to talk the smack like Gigi did that night, it's up to you. It's up to you. Do you want to be a Gigi? Don't be a Gigi. Gigi's scared of me now. He's scared. Gigi's scared. He knows the truth. He knows the truth. It was fun. Right on, Gigi. I'm glad you popped in tonight, and that's really cool to see that you're hanging out. Still taking it like a man, too. Still taking it like a man, because the pictures that we have of you that night, Gigi, are priceless. And as you notice, Gigi, we never went public. We didn't post those. Those are saved for a later date. Yeah. Gigi, you the man. Seriously. And I'm really saying that. I mean it. All right, so tonight on the show, Monday, Jason Shurka is here. We're going to talk about the Pyramid Code document. And if you go on the link for Jason's website, right there at jimmychurchradio.com, click on that, head over to his website. You can download the Pyramid Code document right there for free. There's 4 languages that it has been translated into. Well, one is the original language, which is Hebrew. And you can download the document right there. And after tonight's show, if you haven't done it already, go and download and read through it yourself. But that's what we are going to be discussing tonight. Tomorrow night, right here on this program, I can't believe I am saying this, Ron Keel is on Fade to Black. Now, I'm going to say this. When I first got to L.A., and then we're going to move on, but this is the scope of things. This is why tomorrow night is going to be such a great show for me personally. But I get to L.A. and I meet this gentleman. His name was Mario Zamparelli. Mario was an artist, and he worked for Howard Hughes. And he was Howard Hughes's personal artist and designer for like his entire career. He was a professor at Otis Parsons here in town, the big art school here in L.A. And he had done a lot of private commissions, but his career was Howard Hughes. Okay, so anyway, so I meet him. And he brings in a stack of, he tells me about his daughters, and Andrea and Gina. And he comes in one day and brings me a stack of flyers, like rock and roll flyers from the Sunset Strip flyers. And he goes, this is my daughter, Gina. And you got to meet her. You're into rock and roll. You're a guitar player, Jimmy. And I'm going to introduce you to my daughter, Gina. But here are these flyers. The top flyer on this was a Keel flyer. And I went, oh, man, she knows Ron Keel. Zamparelli Productions presents. And I couldn't wait to meet her so I could meet Ron Keel. I swear, man, that is a true story. And somewhere over at the house in the boxes, I have a bunch of flyers from the Sunset Strip, and in there are those Zamparelli flyers that I had so many years ago. But here we are today. This is how the universe works. Tomorrow on this program, Ron Keel. I'm really looking forward to this. And there is a reason that Ron is on the show tomorrow. And we're going to discuss all of that. We know what the show is about, right? It's about UFOs and conspiracy and fun and the paranormal and time travel and the supernatural. And and lost history and the Great Pyramid of Egypt, all those things that we talk about on the show. And what is Ron's connection? And there's always one. So we're going to talk about all of that tomorrow. Ron Keel on this show. Wednesday night is our Twitter AMA. We haven't done an AMA in a few months, so we will kick things off with another one on Wednesday night with everybody here on Twitter. Thursday's another Fader night with open lines all night long. All right, let's get to a couple of special announcements. All of you have been wondering when I am going to go and do a ghost hunt. Go ghost hunting with a paranormal team and of investigators and go and get it. Well, the time has arrived. This Halloween, October 29th through November 1st, the Dark Zone invites you to join me, spend a weekend with the Queen. That's right, the Queen Mary here in Long Beach. I will be there on board, on location, Friday night. This is a 4-night event. Friday night, I am going to be there. I'm going ghost hunting with the team. They have paranormal investigators from all around the country, and I'll be going through the ship with the lead team of investigators. All of that is on their website, and you can check it out. This is a full-on virtual event with music. Man, Filter is playing. Filter. Bisto Blanco, right? They're playing. So anyway, a whole list of insane musical guests, celebrities. I can't express enough how excited I am about this. And all you got to do is click on the banner over at jimmychurchradio.com or the links that we have right now throughout social media. Use the promo code Jimmy and you will get a special discount. All right, so I will be ghost hunting with all of you. All of you. I cannot wait for this to go down. There are rumors. I can't confirm. There are rumors that Rita is going to be going through the dark with me, too. Yeah. All right. Halloween weekend, October 29th through November 1st. All the banners are right there. Go and do it. And while you are over at our site, visit Carolyn Ford. Click on her banner and go and get yourself your very own crystal skull. I have been getting emails from all of you and all of your new crystal skulls. When you get a crystal skull from Carolyn Ford, take a picture. You can post it on Twitter if you want. Take a picture, send it to me, Jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. When you visit her site and you go into checkout, use the promo code Jimmy. Jimmy, 10% off of your Crystal Skull order today. We've got a lot of big announcements about River Moon Coffee. Some of it we got out over the weekend. We will kick things off tomorrow. Their new website is launched with all of our new cool products. They're right there. There's a full page dedicated to River Moon and Jimmy Church Radio, and that includes all of our CBD products that are called Black Moon. Where did we come up with the name? River Moon Coffee, Fade to Black. Black Moon. Great stuff. And you can go and visit the website right now. And the promo code F2B Blend, by the way, F2B Blend, that promo code applies to everything. All right? All right. It's all there. Let's get moving. Got a lot of breaking news. As the violence continues and tensions rise in the separatist territory of Artsakh, Armenian Americans in Los Angeles continued to demonstrate yesterday. And if you were on Facebook last night, you saw Rita was down at the demonstration outside of the CNN building. She was broadcasting, live streaming from there. It was insane. It was insane. People carried Armenian flags as they walked onto the 170 freeway in North Hollywood. I think they jumped on the 5 freeway, blocked traffic there too as well, and the 110, blocking both lanes of traffic in a plea to stop the bloodshed in the region. Demonstrators in Los Angeles have decried the escalating violence as a massacre against Armenians and are calling for some sort of international intervention or U.S. recognition. All of that went down today. More on that in just a minute. Many have called out a lack of media coverage on the conflict with marches through Hollywood over the weekend. This went down Saturday and Sunday, and I believe it's happening right now. As many as 100,000 demonstrators stopped outside the CNN and KTLA buildings, which are just a block apart there on Sunset Boulevard. And Armenian flags were flown with the huge crowd chanting, CNN, tell the truth. It's an unbelievable situation. Today, we did have that press conference here in Los Angeles with our government leaders, not only in the state, but locally here in California, all calling for President Trump to get involved. We will see. The United States Supreme Court today declined to take up the long-running copyright battle over Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven, leaving in place a ruling that rejected the infringement allegations over the 1971 song. The justices denied a petition aimed at reviving the case, ending 6 years of litigation that the song's writers, Jimmy Page and Robert Plant, plagiarized the song's iconic intro from the 1968 song Taurus by the group Spirit. The ruling follows a March victory for the group in which the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals upheld a jury verdict finding the song did not infringe on Taurus. The Zeppelin case began all the way back in 2014 when journalist Michael Skidmore filed suit on behalf of the estate of Randy Wolf, the late frontman of the band Spirit. The lawsuit alleged that the iconic opening instrumental riff that is played in every music store in the United States when somebody's buying their first guitar, that riff from Stairway to Heaven. And they said that they stole the riff from Spirit's 1968 song. There you go. This case is officially over. It turns out that Earth may not be so special after all, as scientists have identified a plethora of planets outside our solar system with conditions that make them more suitable for life than our Earth. That's right. A study published in the journal Astrobiology identified 24 planets with conditions which may be more suitable for life than those on Earth, including worlds that are older, larger, slightly warmer, and possibly wetter. Some of the super habitable other worlds also orbit stars that are friendlier to life than our sun because they change more slowly and have longer lifespans. Unfortunately, however, those 24 planets are over 100 light years away. Yeah, you got excited for a second. John McAfee's back in the news. That's right. Ex-tech titan John McAfee has been indicted for tax evasion and willful failure to pay tax returns, according to charges announced by the Department of Justice today. The June 15th indictment was unsealed following McAfee's arrest in Spain, where he is pending extradition. According to the indictment, McAfee allegedly earned millions from promoting cryptocurrencies, consulting work, speaking engagements, and selling the rights to his life story for a documentary. From 2014 to 2018, McAfee allegedly failed to file tax returns despite receiving considerable income from these sources. The indictment does not allege that during these years McAfee received any income or had any connection with McAfee antivirus software, which was sold to Intel in 2011 for $7.68 billion. McAfee almost got none of that money, by the way. Yeah. When he sold it at his peak, he was worth about $100 million. Today, just $100 million. He sold it for $7.68 billion. McAfee's net worth today, somewhere around $4 million. Let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to today. Kate Winslet is 45. Jesse Eisenberg today is 37. AC/DC's Brian Johnson today 73. Neil deGrasse Tyson today is 62. And Steve Miller, Fly Like an Eagle, 77. Bob Geldof today is 69. Our dead guy's birthday today is the one and only Bernie Mac, 1957 to 2008. Died at the age of 50. Bernie was a comedian. He was an actor. He's a voice actor. He joined fellow comedian Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, and D.L. Hughley in the film The Original Kings of Comedy. He was the star of his own show, of course, which ran from 2001 to 2006, earning him 2 Emmy Award nominations for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Comedy Series. His films included Ocean's 11, Mr. 3000, Mo Money, Booty Call, Friday, Baps, Life, The Players Club, Head of State, Charlie's Angels, Full Throttle, Bad Santa, Guess Who, Pride, Soul Men, Transformers, Old Dogs, and Madagascar Escape 2 from Africa. Mac died on August 9th, 2008 from complications of pneumonia at Northwestern Memorial Hospital in Chicago, Illinois. On this day in history, 1947, Harry Truman delivers the first ever presidential speech on television on this day in 1947. 1947, big year for everything, including that. Fader fact. Okay, here you go. Listen closely. The fish, Sarpa salpa, known as the dream fish, is full of DMT. That's right. 2 men who ate the fish describing experiencing frightening hallucinations back in 2006 that lasted for 36 hours. The visions had a science fiction theme that included futuristic vehicles, images of space exploration, and monuments marking humanity's first trips into space. And that is your Fader fact. The Sarpa Salpa. Maybe you can get it in the can. I'm just saying. It's full of DMT. Sarpa Salpa. Tonight, Jason Shurka is here. Tomorrow night, Ron Keel joins the show for the first time. Wednesday night is our Twitter AMA. Thursday is another Fader night with open lines all night long. Right now, I got to hit this River Moon coffee. I got a lot to say, and I'm running out of time. And the only way I can get all of that in is River Moon coffee. rivermooncoffee.com. All right. Man, I did a bunch of voiceover work this weekend and trying to squeeze in words into a certain time limit, right? And the only way to get everything in, I don't digitally speed stuff up. I just don't. The only way to do it, River Moon Coffee. I made it happen. Obviously, this goes without saying, but yeah, I've got to go there, and I'm going to right now. Once again tonight, because just when you thought that we are at the very peak of crazy headlines and that it was absolutely impossible to elevate things to another level, well, it did. Everything started to kick off just 5 minutes before the end of the show on Thursday when I saw the tweet from POTUS, which said, I've got COVID. Now, honestly, I thought it was a joke, and it was 5 till 10, right? The show was ending. I'm reading credits. There was no way that thing could be real, and I didn't want to make any comments. Had I known it was real, we would have extended the show, called the networks, and said, we're going to run into overtime here. We're going to talk about this tweet, but we didn't. And, I'm reading credits, and I'm signing off. Of course, minutes later, we all found out that his tweet was indeed real. On any other day, this would be the biggest news of the entire year. But to be honest, it was nothing compared to what happened next. And the thing after that. And then the other thing. And on and on. It was a nutty weekend for sure. And as we all know, I don't do politics on this show. I just don't do it. But the conspiracy of politics is about as fascinating as it gets. This weekend gave us a full dose. No pun intended. Yes, the president and the first lady both got COVID. And if that's not enough of a conspiracy for you, or the fact that he was helicoptered into Walter Reed from the White House lawn, the entire West Wing of the White House has all been shut down. And with, as of today, 10 others from the staff of the West Wing also have COVID. The number is sure to continue to rise, and there is no avoiding that at this point. But from the outside looking in, this is about as crazy as things could get. Or is it? Let's not avoid the obvious things here. We've got the economy, unemployment, the world in crisis, deaths, and the pandemic. We've got racism. We've got protests. We have war. And the fact that there are just 3 weeks left from the presidential election just makes everything crazier. I've said last week, said this last Thursday, just before the president's tweet, that 2020 would turn out to be the most important year in all of human history. And yes, we all have so much to deal with right now. All of us. Nobody is excluded. Nobody. When I say these words, nobody is excluded from these statements. And this weekend gave us more to think about, more to worry about, on top of everything else that is on our plate at the moment. This is the conspiracy. It is real. We are truly living in it. How much more can we take? Well, answering that question just doesn't matter. Why? Well, to be honest, we don't have a choice. We do not. If you thought that this weekend was going to be the top of the hill and we could start to walk down the other side, well, you would be wrong. And let me explain why. The media has a huge job to do, and that job is to continue to top the headlines that they have been creating all year. And that includes all of the media from every country on the planet. They will make sure that they continue to ratchet it up. Click, click, click. They have to. After everything that we have endured this year, there is no way that we'll just wake up and it's all going to be different. Because at this point, that would be impossible. Right now, there are a million issues on the table, really big ones. And the media will make sure to let you know. They feel it's their job to magnify, to amplify, to blow it all up, to get your clicks. Don't expect live streams of baby pandas anytime soon. That ain't going to happen. So just before showtime tonight, the president left Walter Reed and airlifted back to the south lawn of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Is it over? Far from it. You still have to wake up tomorrow, and you're going to check those headlines. The media will make sure that they top today's news. They have to. They think it's their job. They'll kick it up. They will, seriously. But after the headlines this year, I have absolutely no idea what comes next. I really don't. It's like the darkness over Middle Earth, right? The long adventure in front of you with no end in sight. But just like Frodo, we don't have a choice but to see things through to the end. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Tonight, Jason Shurka. We're talking about the Pyramid Code document. You can download it over on his website. Talk about all of that in just a minute. Tomorrow night, right here on this very program, Ron Keel. Wednesday night, our Twitter AMA. Thursday is Fader Night with open lines all night long. Stay right there. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. On the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Introducing the Game Changer blend from River Moon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all River Moon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRAradio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com. This Halloween, the Dark Zone invites you to spend 4 haunted nights with the Queen, October 29th through November 1st. Virtually board the most famous ghost ship in the world. Get your boarding pass now because you'll get to join me, Jimmy Church, on Friday evening when I go ghost hunting. Live, when anything could happen and probably will. And here's the deal. For just $19.99, you get virtual access to the entire Queen Mary, 24-hour surveillance of the most haunted rooms, interaction with your favorite paranormal investigators, very special celebrity guests including Kane Hodder, that's Jason from Friday the 13th, and Chad Lindbergh of the TV series Supernatural. Musical guests including Filter and Beasto Blanco. There will be a costume contest and a Day of the Dead celebration. Halloween is not canceled. For your boarding pass and info, just click on the Dark Zone banner at jimmychurchradio.com and throughout our social media. When you click on that link, just use the promo code Jimmy for a special discount. That's right. You are invited to spend 4 nights of Halloween with the Queen.
Hi, folks. It's troubling times, and fear is pushing emotions, which in turn pushes health the wrong direction. Do you ever get an ache because life is uneasy? Try Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. Life Change Tea works on your digestive tract, helping to move food through quicker and comfortably so your health is spot on. Life Change Tea may not help with world issues, but it will help with your digestive issues. A glass a day helps keep the intruders away. So, change your life today. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. If your health game is off, get on by ordering Life Change Tea. Getthetea.com. And while you're on our site, look around at the great non-GMO organic supplements. And if you're a sales shopper, go to our specials page and see what's for you. I've been drinking the tea for 12 years, and I'm sure glad for its health benefits. Again, that's getthetea.com. Getthetea.com. The tea that makes you go.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey. You're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Jason Shurka is here. Tomorrow night, Ron Keel. Holy crap. Ron Keel's on my show tomorrow. Yeah, man. Wednesday night is our Twitter AMA. Thursday night is Fader night with open lines all night long. But tonight is Jason Shurka. We're going to be discussing the document, The Pyramid Code. The document is available for download in 4 different languages, Hebrew, the original, English, Italian, and Dutch on his website over at jasonshurka.com. It's a free download. You can go and do it. I did it and head straight over and get it. Jason is a spiritual teacher who focuses on teaching others on how to use their mind to clear all emotional and physical blockages in order to unlock their limitless potential. He takes pleasure in traveling the world and exploring different cultures. He has dedicated his life to shining the light of presence and love on others and thus expand the light for others to shine onto the rest of humanity. He is the author of 2 books, The Formless and The Language of Engergy. And his website, of course, is jasonshurka.com. I would like to welcome for the first time to Fade to Black, Jason Shurka. Jason, good evening, man. How are you?
Thank you so much, Jimmy. Thank you for having me on your show.
It's great to have you here. And before we get started, Jason, you get the first-time guest disclaimer. You thought I'd forget, but I didn't. So let's get that out of the way, which is, Jason, it's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation. Conversation is friends, and where that conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends, but we're going to end as friends. There you go. You ready?
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah, right on, man. And let's start here. This is the first time you've been on the program, and for our audience, which is vast, they may not have heard of you in the past. So let's discuss that. The next time you're on the show, we won't have to go through this, but it's part of Radio 101, right? So
yep.
Let's start here before we get to the document. What brought you to the community? What introduced you to this world that we exist in today, which is seeking knowledge and trying to figure out what is going on?
Of course. So first, I'd like to start just by adding a little bit on top of how you introduced me, because there are a few things that weren't said that are important. My background is, I'm a normal guy. I work in real estate. I'm based out of New York. I work in New York City. It's what I know. It's what I do. And my sort of entrance into this world really kind of came out of nowhere, and I'll explain that and how it all started. But I want to explain that I enjoy teaching others. That's why I write my books. I write them because it's a hobby. As a matter of fact, any profit that I make off of the book goes to charity, because thank God I don't need that money to live.
Right.
But these are things that I do for pleasure. It's things that I do because I enjoy doing it. I enjoy giving back. And this whole realm of kind of new insights that I've been shot into started really out of nowhere. And I'll give that brief of how I got into it. So about 2 years ago, I was approached by a man. It was actually in June of 2018. And, at the time I thought it was a stranger because of the way that he came up to me. I like your necklace. How are you? Kind of knew what I liked, what I didn't like, and sparked up incredible conversation with me. And who was once a stranger turned into a friend, and our relationship sort of flourished. And we had incredible conversations from the fundamentals of the universe, ancient technology, the pyramids, many, many different things, all the way to what everybody would call conspiracy theories today, and how government works and how the world works and whatnot. And over time, what I didn't know in the beginning when he first approached me was he wasn't the stranger that he told me that he was. So he eventually disclosed to me his association with a specific organization that is behind the publication of this document, the Pyramid Code.
So let me jump in right there.
Yes.
I don't want to get too far ahead of our skis. If you prior to this, were you researching ancient history? Were you looking into the history of ancient Egypt and cultures and religions?
Yes, it was always something that interested me.
Right.
But again, as a hobby, just like anybody else, that's it. I watched Ancient Aliens. I researched a little bit online, but it wasn't something that kind of took over my life. It was just something that I enjoyed doing on the side.
Okay, another question. Did you
Yes.
listen to Fade to Black? Did you?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't.
Coast to Coast, none of that?
I've actually, the first time I heard of Coast to Coast was 2 days before going on Coast to Coast.
Okay. All right. So that's pretty interesting. Okay. Yeah. So the reason why I asked, because this document, and certainly the subjects that he was talking about, are pretty vast, and you need a pretty strong foundation to get through this and to understand it. The document's for everybody. Anybody can read it. But when you really read the document, there's all kinds of stuff in there that if you're not familiar with it, you would probably just blow it off and call it woo-woo. And that's how those other crazy people think, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you one thing. The document was originally written in Hebrew, and for anybody that knows me, they know that I'm learning Hebrew, but my level of Hebrew is nowhere near that. I can barely read it, let alone write it.
Right. Yeah. I think
I don't even understand the words that are in there in Hebrew. It's way beyond my level.
Yeah, I think that goes for all of us. Yeah. So there you go. Okay, so he's hitting you with all of these subjects. And he introduced, you thought you guys were strangers. That's where we just left off. And it turns out that may have not been the case.
It wasn't the case. I was approached for a reason. They, in a very positive way, deceived me for a good purpose. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I'll explain. If a man just came up to me on the street and started talking to me about aliens and flying pyramids, I would look at him like he's crazy, especially at that point in my life. So that's where the idea of disclosure comes in. And the individual, the way that disclosure happened on a personal level for me happened perfectly, because he and they, which is the organization, which we can cover, gave me exactly what I was ready to receive when they gave it to me. And the reason why I say that is because I think that's how disclosure has to happen on the collective level as well. Because if we receive what we're not ready to receive, it can cause more chaos than good. So I was blessed enough to experience that on a personal level and really understand the application of what that truly means.
Now, when you say disclosure, what version of disclosure are you using? Right?
Yes.
If you know what I mean.
So it first started with him talking to me about the idea, first making me aware of certain things. Then eventually down the line, he said, well, okay, we're at this point. So, and that's when he disclosed his affiliation with TLS. TLS stands for the Light System. They're an organization that, again, took me a while to be disclosed to. It wasn't something that happened on day one. You can think about them like the spiritual CIA. And I say that so nobody gets them confused with a cult, because it has nothing to do with religion or rituals or ceremony. It's just an organization or an agency that works very much like other three-letter agencies, only they have different intentions and they have more spiritually oriented tasks. So a quick, simple, brief breakdown of who they are. Again, TLS stands for the Light System. They're a worldwide organization. They're made of roughly 7,000 agents, some of which are very well-known people in the world today. It can be world leaders, producers, celebrities, and also people that nobody's ever heard of, just another person in the world. But of course, everybody has a cover. So if there is somebody that's well known in the world, nobody knows that they work with TLS. The organization is made up of all races, religions, there's everything under the sun. It has nothing to do with any identification that you carry. It has more so to do with an energy or resonance that you were born with. And that's a purpose of why they would come and scout you out to begin with, because you were born with something, you have a certain ability, and they need that ability to fulfill a certain task. So just to give you the idea of what their intention and purpose for existing is in the first place, they're here, their ultimate goal is to guide and assist humanity in reaching a higher level of awareness and consciousness. And the reason why they do that is because a lot of people say, if they're so powerful, then why don't they just take down the evil people in the world today? And the answer is pretty simple. Let's think about it logically. If we were to take down all of the evil people in the world today overnight, what stops them from being replaced? And the answer is the masses. So if we take down the evil without changing the awareness or the consciousness of the masses, who are us, that allowed that evil to come into power in the first place, then we did nothing. So TLS focuses on shining the light and raising the awareness and consciousness of the masses, so the reflection of that will be a good reality, one of light, one of peace, one of love, and not one of dark forces like we see today in the world.
Now, let's stay on TLS here for a second, because sure. I wanted to go deeper with TLS later on in the show. But since we are focused on it now, there are a couple of points. I don't want to pick the document apart just yet, but now I guess this is where we are. Yeah. So is this. There are a couple of pretty broad statements that are made about TLS. And to get to those statements, we have to better understand who the author of the document is. That being said, he states in the Pyramid Code that TLS has been around for thousands of years. And I'm paraphrasing here, but you get the gist of it. For a very long time. This isn't something recent or a modern organization that has been put together. Now, that's a pretty strong statement to have them being revealed for the first time in a public setting if they've been around for thousands of years. How come we've never heard of TLS before?
So, first of all, I asked that same question. My question is always, why now? Why are you coming out now? And the simple answer that they give is because people are ready. Now, as vague as they may sound, I'll give an example. Let's go back about 25 years, or about 20 years, I believe. David Icke wrote a book and he started talking about reptilians. Now, what he was stating wasn't wrong, but he received a lot of backlash because that information did not reflect the consciousness of the people at the time. And that's where disclosure comes in. So although something may exist right now, sometimes it may be too early to show that to people, because once again, if disclosure is done the wrong way, it can do more damage than good. So according to TLS, and I'll explain what that means, but according to them, people are ready. However, the guy that wrote this document was against the publication of the document, primarily for the fact that he felt that people are not ready on a collective level to receive this. But that was out of his hands. TLS wanted it to go out. I came into the picture. They asked me to publish it, and I didn't have to. I chose to because I felt that it was the right thing to do. Okay,
which is great, and the document definitely clearly states that. And the document's a good read, everybody. It's 44 pages. It's comprehensive. It gets pretty deep in some subjects, and it definitely takes your full attention to get through. All right, it's not a comic book, right? It's a very serious read.
I'd like to add one more thing. This isn't the first time that they allowed publication, and I'm going to explain what that means. In 2010, and it finished, if I'm not mistaken, around 2013, there's a book called Rays of Light. Rays of Light was written by the same man that wrote the Pyramid Code. TLS gave permission to the man to publish Rays of Light, which means everybody would have known what TLS is, how they work, and a lot more information than what's just in the Pyramid Code, because Rays of Light is 864 pages and it's over 1 million words, as opposed to 44 pages and 20,000 words. So the answer really is TLS was ready to come out 7 years ago. The man chose not to. And I guess that's where freedom of choice comes in, because he didn't want to be the front of it. So there is another book called Rays of Light that's in print. It's in a safe right now, being held very tightly, and he doesn't want that to come out. Now, the catch is that on the Pyramid Code, names could be changed. In other words, this man could remain anonymous. On Rays of Light, it's not allowed. When Rays of Light comes out, you will know exactly who this man is.
Now, I need to understand, too, because this is also stated in the document, and for everybody that's going to go and read it, I think they need to clearly understand what is going on. He says in the document that he doesn't know if Rays of Light is going to be published while he's alive. He would probably prefer it after he goes because he doesn't want to deal with all of the issues that are going to rise from the publication of the book for himself personally and his family and friends. Again, understood. But he also says in the document, you've confirmed it here, that the book has been published. You just said it was between 2010 and 2013.
No, that's when it was written.
It's written. So the book isn't out there for people to read, is what I'm getting at.
No.
Okay.
Rays of Light is not out. Rays of Light is sitting in a safe, waiting for somebody to publish it.
Okay. All right. So that clears that up. I was a bit confused, and I did go and search for Rays of Light on Google. I wanted to see.
No, Rays of Light is not a public book.
I got it. Okay. Now, who is the writer? And I understand that you know this. It's a man, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you know this gentleman. He said that Rays of Light would reveal his identity. I'm not concerned with that, so that's not where I'm going. But you know who he is personally.
Yes.
And this other situation, he says in the Pyramid Code, again, I'm doing this for clarity for everybody that's going to go and read it later.
Sure.
That it seems that he is and is not part of TLS. Right?
So I'll explain what that means.
Okay.
He, along with somebody that he works with, are the only two people that work within TLS who are not initiated. He's not initiated into TLS because he doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to be because he doesn't. Put it this way: once you initiate into the organization, you do what's expected of you. If you have a mission, you go on the mission. He's not willing to put himself under that sort of control, if you want to call it. And it's not control because everybody has the freedom of choice. But if you make a commitment, you make a commitment. And he's not ready to do that. Now, just to give you a picture of who this man is, he's not a nobody in the world. He's somebody that isn't famous, but is known in his world. He's not known. And listen, he's built a beautiful life for himself and his family on all respects, financially as well. He does very well for himself. And his whole life is pretty much a cover. Everybody that knows him for who he is, it's not who he is. And for him to come out and say, I am the person that wrote this document, and this is what I've been doing for the past X amount of years, it will change his life overnight. And although it may not seem like a big deal to many people, it's a big deal to him. And he doesn't want that to happen. And he says very simply, I would rather just continue doing everything behind the scenes like I'm doing today. One day I'm going to die. And after I die, all of this information can go to the public. Now, the way I see it, and I'm sure he's listening right now. Actually, I can tell you that he is listening right now. And I'm saying this so he hears me. The way that I see it is, I think it's a crime against humanity to hold back information, especially information that can help people, regardless of what it will do on a personal level. Because these are things that help on a global level. They're things that help on the collective level of awareness and consciousness of humanity. And I want him to know that I'm not judging him by not putting it out, but I'm making my intentions clear. The reason why I'm doing what I'm doing and putting my name and reputation on the line is because, number one, these things are bigger than me. So if there are people that think I'm crazy on the way, it's okay. As a matter of fact, I understand those people, because the people that are not in resonance with what this is saying would have to pretty much agree and accept that their entire life and what they thought is a lie for them to accept what's going on here. My intentions are to show him that people are ready to receive this information. and to show him that it's not just going to be accepted with scrutiny. There will be some, and there will be criticism, but there are people that are ready to receive this information. And I can tell you so far, over the past month, since this document came out, from what I see, he's becoming a whole lot more comfortable with the feedback that he's seeing from people, because what he thought in the past of people aren't ready and everybody's going to think he's crazy is almost 100% wrong, because the feedback shows the exact opposite. And for that, I'm thankful. But that's where my intentions are, because I don't want to be the one to publish Rays of Light. I want him to do it.
Now, there's a few other issues with this. We're going to head towards a break here in 2 minutes. Sure. We can certainly pick it up on the backside. But there are a few issues right out of the gate for those that are going to read the Pyramid Code. They're going to say, okay, okay, who is TLS? Where's the proof of this organization? Who are the members of this organization? If we're going to take this serious, we've got to get pragmatic. Let's get to some black and white stuff here. Who is TLS? Number two, if we are going to get into the subjects of the pyramids or interstellar space travel and aliens and spirituality and consciousness and how all of this occurs, we need to see something here, because we have heard all of this before. And this is the biggest thing that is in front of anybody, including yourself and the author of a document like this, because we want this information. It's not bad information. It's good information, but it needs to have something concrete standing up behind it, which is stated in this document that these things are there, but we can't reveal them, right? And it's just like, here we go. We're chasing our tails.
100%. And by the way, Jimmy, for that reason, he didn't want to come out, because he says, if I don't have definitive proof, I'm not going to go for it. That's what he says. And I say, no, I don't agree with you. I say you go for it because you know it's the truth and it's your truth. And in due time, when disclosure is meant to happen, it will. Now, over the past month, there have been some incredible coincidences, if you want to call them coincidences, that have happened that tie to the document. There have been, in terms of what it says regarding the Dome of the Rock, the mosque in Jerusalem. Suddenly, 3 days after the document came out, there was a hole that appeared in the ground. One of the cobblestones fell, and there was no earth below it. Rather, there were tunnels below it. And there are videos that you can see online that connects to the document that says there are tunnels and there are certain sacred items hidden under the Dome of the Rock. Then suddenly, 3 days later, this comes. Let's not go even far. Look what happened yesterday and today. Suddenly, they revealed certain chambers of the pyramids in Egypt that they never found before, and they unearthed 59 mummies. And when you look at their physical attributes, specifically their skull, you'll see that the physical attributes that this document talks about in terms of the pharaohs and who they were, because they were not human beings, directly matches these mummies that they found yesterday. Then there's so many of those coincidences, if you want to call them. But listen, even if somebody started levitating in the middle of Times Square, or a spaceship landed in Times Square and aliens came out of it, there will always be people that will say, the guy that's levitating is doing an illusion, just like David Copperfield made the Statue of Liberty disappear. And the spaceship that landed in Times Square with aliens coming out of it was a Hollywood stunt. So there will always be a way to debunk the black and white if you want to. And that's why in the beginning of the document, I specifically say, don't read this with mind and logic. Rather, let your guide be your heart and your soul. Let it resonate with you and see how it feels. Because if you only work off of black and white when you're dealing with something so colorful, you're going to miss the picture.
Yes, and I think that the document, and we'll actually, I'm looking at the clock. I just missed the break. Stay right there, Jason.
Okay.
Our guest tonight is Jason Shurka. I am your host, Jimmy Church. That's what happens when you're having a great conversation. We'll be right back after this short break on the Game Changer Network. and KGRA, The Planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More Jason after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Hello, my name is Billy Carson, and I am a best-selling author and the founder of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Together with my team, we have built an all-new conscious streaming TV platform designed with every family member in mind. If you have ever wanted to travel the world and attend lectures and workshops from your favorite speakers but weren't able to, look no further. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. There are dozens of workshops and lectures from speakers you know and love. We have also included amazing categories to assure that your consciousness is entertained and elevating on a daily basis. Amazing interviews, ancient history, ascension knowledge, wisdom teachings, documentaries, conspiracies, mysteries, health and fitness, conscious cooking, meditations, finance, yoga, and so much more. To start your free trial on any mobile device or computer, surf to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4, ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Again, visit ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer, Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Sobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. And you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright-Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Jason Shurka is here. We're talking about the document. We're discussing the Pyramid Code. The document is available for download in 4 different languages: Hebrew, the original, English, Italian, and Dutch, over on his website, jasonshurka.com. We've got the links directly to the document up in the sandbox on Twitter. Now, Jason, let's start to go deep here. And I want to start with this for everybody. What is this document called the Pyramid Code?
That's a good question. Let's think how to answer it. It's the breakdown is an in-depth memory from the author's past life in ancient Egypt, along with something that he was taught called the Pyramid Code. It's actually in Hebrew it's called Torat HaPyramida, which means it's really like the mysticism of the pyramid. We call it the Pyramid Code. Why? Because there is an actual code that the document, specifically in Hebrew, was written with. And if you know the code, you would be able to read the document completely differently. You'd be able to extract information from that document. Specifically, what the man said is you'd be able to take about 1,000 pages of information from the 33 pages of the Hebrew text, because the Hebrew is 33 pages, just because of the language difference. So that's the breakdown of it. But it pretty much talks about the history of the pyramids, who built them, why they built them, how they built them, the operational functions of the pyramids, of which there were many, some of which people have understood through research and through just kind of connecting dots, and some of which I've never heard before. But maybe that's just me because I'm not an expert in this. And it goes into speaking about, of course, it covers TLS, the organization, because that's where a lot of this information is coming from. And the document finishes on a new age of consciousness that we're heading into, called the Age of Love, which is a higher level of awareness. It very much correlates to fifth dimensional awareness, what everybody would call 5D. And how to reach that, what it really means, what it will look like, and even a timeline of when to expect it, which I found to be beautiful.
If I was asked to describe what the Pyramid Code was as a document, I think I would start with what you said, which is it's a memory from the author of his past lives, and lives is plural. He states some pretty astounding numbers when he talks about reincarnation and how many lives he has had. He does explain how these numbers happen. In other words, I'm going to continue with my definition in a second, but he talks about himself and others in this document about having thousands of past lives and reincarnations. Well, if you're dealing with 2,000 years, then how could you live 1,000 lives?
There we go. So I love it because you're asking the same questions that I asked.
Right.
Here's the answer. First of all, in the document, there's only one person that he claims lived over 1,000 reincarnations. The exact number is 1,010, 1010. And that happens to be the rabbi in this life, who was many different things in other lives. So my question was, I believe he lived 1,010 different reincarnations in a span of 5,744 years, if I'm not mistaken. So my first assumption was, well, does that mean he lived till 5 years old on average?
That's right.
And the answer is that a soul can live in multiple bodies at the same time.
Right. And some would say, well, that's the out, right? He's got an out for making that kind of statement. But if you read the document and then you kind of absorb the concepts of where this is coming from, so that was pretty cool, the explanation. But there's another aspect to the document too as well, where it feels like, and I think it's stated, that this isn't a religious document. But as you read through it, because of the rabbi, and you're seeing references to Hebrew, some mentions of events in the Bible, certain temple sites around the world, specifically the Dome of the Rock and the Great Pyramid of Egypt. So those elements are brought in. And then by the end of the document, we're talking about a singular element of God. So
not religious.
But that's my question. Is this a religious document, and why the Hebrew and Jewish aspect of the document when it's supposed to not be that way?
Of course. So first of all, no, it has nothing to do with religion. It is it's a historical document. That's the truth. Now, why it has to do with the Jews in Egypt? Simply because that's the memory that's the reincarnation that man lived through, that he remembers in that time. So if he lived through the time of Jesus and 300 years after, when Christianity came to fruition, he would talk about that. If he lived in another time where some other religion came to fruition, he would talk about that. So it's just a historical text that talks about how a religion came into being. But my advice is, instead of looking at it as the Jewish people, just look at the sort of foundational principles of what's going on in the document that could be applied to any nation and any people in terms of how reincarnation works. Reincarnation doesn't know religion, and the document says that very openly. It also doesn't know race. For example, who was somebody who was an alien in a past life of a pharaonic race who came from a different planet, according to the document, is now a human being of Earth. So reincarnation is an energetic and spiritual, that's where its foundations are. It has nothing to do with religion. Now, in terms of the whole Hebrew language, Hebrew has nothing to do with religion either, and I'll explain what that means. Hebrew in Hebrew is called Sfat HaKodesh. Sfat HaKodesh means the divine language, the holy language. It's not called the Jewish language. Hebrew was simply a language that already existed because the Egyptians used it as well. And the Jews adopted it as their language, but it's not a Jewish language. It has a lot of energetic significance and divine significance. And yes, it's not it's not a religious language, it's a spiritual language. So just to clarify that, because people tend to connect Hebrew to Judaism, and I understand why, but Hebrew started before Judaism existed. Now, so that's to keep in mind.
Okay. And now there are, I want to, at the break, I want to talk about some logistic stuff, some numbers here. At the break, we'll jump into the content of the documents and certainly the spirituality and consciousness side of things. But as a researcher myself, and I'm one of many on this planet that has researched ancient Egypt and the pyramids, all of them, the historical sites, and which includes going into, of course, Jerusalem and the ancient sites there. Yeah. I've studied this a lot. And I've made statements about the different sites and construction and things. When you have statements in here as not an Egyptologist, but other Egyptologists or people that understand each of the pyramid sites in Egypt, and their timeline, their construction, and how they were built, there were some statements in the document that for me, I had to back up and go, okay, this isn't correct. This is bad information. And one of the things, and I want to address this directly so everybody can understand, including myself, is that the author states that the angle of the pyramids, and he says that plural, around the world, of which there are, and he throws out a number, and it's like 100,000 or whatever that number is.
Fewer than 100,000.
Right, around the world, with a side angle of 51 degrees. And the side angle on a four-sided pyramid that is 51 degrees is to connect to whatever out in the universe. But that statement of 51 degrees only applies to 2 pyramids, maybe 3 in Egypt. The rest of them have crazy angles, some of them very, very steep. And the pyramids that are throughout Central America don't have that 51-degree angle. It's only specifically to what is at Giza. The bent pyramid is bent, right? The red pyramid is closer. The step pyramid is not. And the later pyramids in Egypt that were built further out into the desert, of which there were hundreds, were at a very steep angle, very steep.
In the document, he did say that there are other pyramids with different shapes and different sizes. Now, he didn't go and name every single one in terms of what you just did, but he did acknowledge the fact that there are other types of pyramids out there with different geometry, if you want to call it, to it. But again, he was in Egypt. His life was in Egypt. In terms of the specifics of what he's talking about, the specifics have to do with the ones in Egypt, because that's where he was. He wasn't everywhere else around the world.
Right. But and to be clear,
yes.
The 51-degree angle, which is an important angle, and there's reasons why that is a magic number in the construction of the pyramids at Giza. No doubt about it. And the numerology and getting into the mathematics and the physics and the wonder of that 51-degree angle is magical. It's unbelievable what that 51-degree number is, but it only applies to those. It doesn't really apply to other pyramids that I know of that's running with a 51-degree angle.
I'll tell you one thing that he clarified that I just remembered. Every pyramid does have an angle of 51 degrees on the inner walls. The external walls may have steps. The external walls may have angles that are out of that 51 degree, but the inner wall, the internal surface, is always at 51 degrees.
Okay, there you go. Okay,
that's according to him.
Okay. And one other thing that stood out for me there was the amount of the Jewish people that were on the Exodus. I think he said 2 million.
3 million.
3 million, which is more than the entire population in all of Egypt. It's double. So that's a weird number to be placing into this document.
Where did you decide that the population of Egypt was less than 3 million, according to what source?
Okay. If you very specifically, I have written and researched this number for a lot of different reasons. Now, at 2650 BC, historically, and you can go and look at any number of sources for this, but it's a general number. At 2650 in Egypt, about 500,000 people was the entire population of Egypt. As it got to around 2500 BC in Egypt, the number jumped closer to about 1 million. Getting all the way up. Let me finish though.
Yeah.
Getting up to 0 BC at the when Cleopatra ended her reign, by suicide allegedly. We don't know that for sure, but the number approached around 2 million. The Exodus was 1,000 years prior to that or so with Ramses II, and again the population of Egypt would have been about half that number. So that's and so historians that would look at that would say, well, that number doesn't feel quite right. I'm asking you, where did the author get that number of 2 or 3 million Jews in the Exodus?
Well, in the Bible, it states that there were over 2.5 million people in Egypt at the time.
Okay, so then the entire population of Egypt left, right? It's weird to me.
Yeah, most of Egypt were the people that were helping. The pharaohs were a race that came down. And it says in the document, the only ones that came down were the survivors of that planet that was destroyed, and they were sent here. So they didn't come here in vast numbers of millions.
Right.
They were a race that came here to assimilate with the people of Earth. And by the way, it says it in the Bible as well, and forget the Bible, other historical texts and scriptures as well, where the sons of God, as they call them, mated with the daughters of man.
Yeah. And to be clear, everybody, I'm not picking this document apart or anything like that. Not at all. This is a document that was given to Jason. And he's not the author of the document. He's dealing with the same things that all of us are dealing with as you read through the document. And certainly we need clarification for this leading into anybody going to read the document. When they get to these certain sections of it, we're all going to scratch our heads and sit back. So we need to understand what is going on here. But that's a big... I totally encourage that, by the way, because that's the right thing to do. Now, you said it right. This isn't my document. I didn't write it. And if something's proven to be incorrect, that's okay. You know, that can... Everything's possible. But what I will say is that there are contradictions, not just between this and the Bible, but between this and what historical texts say and what historians say. There's contradictions everywhere. So when you said, for example, well, according to historians, the population was X, Y, and Z, well, that could possibly be wrong as well, just like this could possibly be wrong. You know what I mean? Well, yeah, and the reason why I looked into all of that was I was trying to figure out where over this 150-year period of the construction of the pyramids, this timeline that historians and Egyptologists have put out there for everybody to read. Well, when you're looking at that and they're saying, well, 20,000, people built the pyramid over 20 years. Well, I want to know where those 20,000 people came from. And when you have the two pyramids on the Giza Plain, the plateau Khufu and Khafre, those two pyramids were built at the same time. So that means 40,000 people built those pyramids over 20 years, not 20,000. And that changes the dynamic altogether again. Because if there were 500,000 people living in Egypt and 40,000 were committed to building the pyramids, that means, and you can deduce from that every able-bodied male in the country was on the Giza Plateau, because you have the elderly, you have children, they weren't part of it, you have men and women, you can separate that. I went and presented all of these numbers as a research document, trying to figure out and make sense of these numbers. So when you go and you throw in a number like 2 million Jews in Egypt as slaves or servants or what have you, that's a huge number that doesn't fit into what Egypt was at that time. That's all.
First of all, I totally understand. I want to say two things. Number one, first of all, they weren't Jews in Egypt. They were Hebrews. There's a difference because they didn't become the Jews until after they left. And in regards to the number, I'll give you something else. Historians will also tell us that a lot of people live till 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old. Now, if we just work off of logic and forget numbers and what historians say, if today we live in a world with contaminated water, contaminated air, contaminated food, a lot of toxins in everything that we do, radiative toxins with radiation there and everything else under the sun, and we still live till 80, 90, sometimes 100 plus years old, then doesn't it logically make sense that there could have been people that lived till 400 or 500 in a world where there was no contaminated water, there was no man-made manipulated radiation, there was no contaminated food, there was no contaminated air. The only logical reason somebody should die, which is what happened in the past, was if you were attacked by an animal and it killed you, if some sort of natural disaster came to killed you, or if you got some sort of bacterial infection that you couldn't fight. Now, for anybody that says that life expectancy has gone up over the years, that's correct, but lifespan hasn't changed. The only reason why life expectancy changed is because less people stopped dying at 20 and 30 years old because, let's say 300 years ago, we didn't have antibiotics for infections that otherwise would have killed us, right? And we also lived in huts a few hundred years ago where animals could come in the jungle and eat us. So the reason why they were dying back then was not because of cancer or diabetes. It was because of natural things that they do happen. Now, we happen to live in a world where 100 years ago when they were doing surgery, they didn't use gloves. You know, there were infections, people died. So life expectancy changed. Lifespan did not. As a matter of fact, 60 years ago, there were more centurions, which are people that lived till over 100 years old in the world then than there are today.
Yeah, you bring up a wonderful point. Obviously, infections, you got a bad tooth, that could have killed you. And it killed a lot of people, right? Okay, absolutely. But it seems to me, and I know I'm going to upset people right now for me being such a doofus to suggest something like this, but it seems to me that cancer is modern. It feels that way to me. You don't see comments about what may have been cancer in historical documents from 500 or 1,000 years ago. It's really weird to me. Is cancer a modern disease?
Jimmy, people will tell you that they didn't have it 1,000 years ago, not because they didn't have it, but because they didn't know how to diagnose it. And I'll give you proof that that's wrong. There's a book called The Invisible Rainbow by Arthur Furstenberg. It's a history of electricity and the world. And it starts when we first started with the telegraph in 1879 and how all these things started. I think it was before 1879. I don't know the exact timeline. But back in the 1700s, there were people with cancer, which means they knew how to diagnose the disease. They knew how to diagnose the illness. Only the numbers were 0.25% of the population, whereas today in America, and you can look this on the American Cancer Association, 39% of Americans have or had cancer, which means that 300 years ago they knew cancer. It was just a lot less, which leads us to understand. And it's not a belief. It's just a fact of medical history. People have gotten sicker as we progressed into modern times, because as we so-called advanced, we really declined in terms of everything else, because our advancements has been getting us sick. Our computers, our phones, our way of life gets us sick. We're no longer real human beings of Earth. We're human beings of concrete jungles, and they're not concrete jungles. They're just human zoos. There's a difference.
Let's take our break right here. What a fantastic conversation. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Jason Shurka. We are talking about the Pyramid Code and the document. You can download it over on Jason's site, jasonshurka.com. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. This Halloween, the Dark Zone invites you to spend 4 haunted nights with the Queen, October 29th through November 1st. Virtually board the most famous ghost ship in the world. Get your boarding pass now because you'll get to join me, Jimmy Church, on Friday evening when I go ghost hunting. Live, when anything could happen and probably will. And here's the deal. For just $19.99, you get virtual access to the entire Queen Mary, 24-hour surveillance of the most haunted rooms, interaction with your favorite paranormal investigators, very special celebrity guests including Kane Hodder, that's Jason from Friday the 13th, and Chad Lindbergh of the TV series Supernatural. Musical guests including Filter and Beasto Blanco. There will be a costume contest and a Day of the Dead celebration. Halloween is not canceled. For your boarding pass and info, just click on the Dark Zone banner at jimmychurchradio.com and throughout our social media. When you click on that link, just use the promo code Jimmy for a special discount. That's right. You are invited to spend 4 nights of Halloween with the Queen.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
Telepath is a weekly digital newsletter filled with the latest paranormal news, trending topics, and fresh articles from some of the most popular critical thinkers in the community today. Stay informed on your favorite paranormal podcasts and live streaming talk shows. Interact with the Telepath and upload your paranormal story or pics. It could be featured in an upcoming edition. Sign up right now for the free Telepath newsletter at paranormal.radio. That's paranormal.radio.
Including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Tonight, Jason Shurka is here. We're talking about the document called the Pyramid Code. You can download it over on his website, jasonshurka.com. Tomorrow night, right here, Ron Keel. Thursday night is our Twitter AMA. Always another great night and a lot of fun for me to do. Right here, live in front of everybody. Now, Jason, back to the document. Let's get to some fun stuff. There is, now, for those that go and seek out a document like this for certain things, like aliens and spaceships, this is the document for you. There's no question about it, man, because I was like, okay, here we go. We're off to the races. So let's get to a very select, because the document is long, everybody needs to go and read it. But there are a few pretty amazing moments for me here in the document. I want to start with the pharaohs. Now, the author states that the pharaohs were E.T. Right? Now, let's not mince words here. We're not playing around. The pharaohs were extraterrestrials.
Yep.
Continue.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, in that. So, well, yeah. See, you just that I like the way you answer that with just yep, because I'm being very clear here. That's exactly that's exactly what is stated. Now he goes on to explain this, and I'm going to get to a couple other questions on this, but to jump to this. What is he actually suggesting here? Because you have children of pharaohs, too, as well, that come into play. Does that mean that they are carrying an ET gene and passing on ET DNA? Because some of these pharaohs had lots of kids.
Mm-hmm. It's also not always a physical gene, but also an energy that they have that allows them to do certain things. You know, it's a higher level of awareness and consciousness. As a matter of fact, all the pharaohs had to go, and all the children of the royal palace of the pharaohs had to go through a certain initiation process called baraka. So baraka is the process that all of them went through in order to attain and acquire their, what we would call supernatural abilities as well.
And the author says that he also went through this process.
Moses did as well, by the way. Moses did, the author did. It's not a usual thing that happens, as the author said. You usually have to be part of the race. But Moses was brought into the royal palace as a baby, for those of you who know the story. And this author, the person that wrote this document, claims that in that reincarnation, he recognizes me, Jason, the high priest at the time, who was referred to as Fata Hotep, who was the teacher of all of the people that went through the Baraka process. The author was one of those. So, by the way, if you look at the reincarnation and how it worked, in this life, he's like a mentor to me. In that one, he claims, and I don't have memory of this, so that's why I'm saying he claims, that I was his teacher. So it's interesting how the roles reversed.
Okay, where did this race of aliens come from, and why Earth, and why establish the pharaonic dynasties in Egypt specifically?
Sure. So in the year 2750 BC, which on the Hebrew calendar, and it's important, which works a little differently, it's in the year 1010. And I don't know the exact reason of why that year, but I'm sure that there's an energetic significance. In the year 2750 BC, there were 4 races, not just the pharaohs, but 4 races that came from 4 different planets to Earth, because their planets were destroyed for reasons that I am not sure of, so I can't tell you why and how. When they came here, why Earth? I'm not sure of exactly why Earth. I know that they were looking for a home and Earth suited them. But part of their intention of coming here was to assimilate into humanity and raise, sort of like elevate the consciousness of the race that lived here at the time. So these 4 races that came, who were not just pharaohs, but other races as well that looked completely different, settled in 4 areas of the earth: north, south, east, and west. The pharaohs, as we know them today, settled in and kind of ruled the regions of Africa and Egypt. Now, when they came here, part of their intention, on top of just coming and assimilating into Earth, was to raise the awareness of a very materialistic race and a low vibrational race that existed here on Earth before they came here. So their mission was to help us. And in the beginning, according to the document, they did a great job until the sort of desires were sort of imposed upon the pharaohs, and they gave into the lower vibrational acts. And they started interbreeding with the humans of Earth. And that's pretty much, I know this story is spoken about in other ideas as well, where there's an interbreeding between ETs and human beings, and we're the offspring of that. And that's absolutely true. So over time, these high vibrational beings became more and more and more diluted because they were interbreeding and mating with the lower vibrational race that existed here. And ultimately, instead of them bringing us up, we brought them down. And this is our world today.
Now, there was another part of this, and you just brought it up right here, so I want to get back to this. When dates are mentioned, and specifically days and time, the number 10 is repeated throughout this document, right? He was born on the 10th day, or it was the 10th of whatever. My birthday is on 10/10, October 10th. Now,
really?
Well, but that's neither here nor there. But what I naturally look to, it's because I've been, 10/10 my entire life, right? So I see the number 10 everywhere if it pops up. And if somebody is born on the 10th day of the month, or October 10th, or 10/10, or the year 10/10, all of it sticks out to me. But in this document, it's on every page. Right?
Yeah.
Why is that? Why is it always the 10th day, 10th month, 10th year, 10? It's 10/10/10/10/10.
Yes, there are multiple numbers that come out throughout the document. There's 8, there's 26, there's 4, there's 5, there's 10, there's 18. 10, all of those represent something energetically. Now, again, when you go back to the Hebrew language, and again, it's not a Jewish language, it's just what the Jews adopted. When you go back to the Hebrew language that the pharaohs used as well, 10 in Hebrew means to give. So it represents eternal giving. So the pyramid, by the way, how the number 10 connects to the pyramid is the pyramid altogether between its external and internal surfaces has 10 surfaces. That's what the shape is made of. There's 5 on the outside, the 4 walls and the bottom of the base, and then the inside, which would be the opposite of every one that I just stated. 10 represents giving again. So energetically, it holds an energetic sort of radiance and resonance of giving. That's where the idea comes from.
So I'm a giver. Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, I guess we could say that.
I'm a double giver. It's just very interesting that it's throughout the document, and it's very interesting. The next point that I want to get to is, and it's a very bold statement, and it's an exciting one, but that each of the pyramids has a spaceship underneath it. Hidden chambers, spaceship. When the pyramids launch, there is 12 flames that are on the bottom that represent the zodiac, and then one central flame in the middle that represents the one. Very interesting. We need to find these spaceships.
Sure. So first of all, the pyramid itself is a UFO, is a spaceship. That's what it's referring to. Now, it did say that, okay, there are multiple purposes for the pyramids. Number one, protection. The pyramid works on certain technology called EMP and EMLP, which stands for electromagnetic pulsation and electromagnetic laser pulsation. By the way, just to correct you, and I'll get to this as well, they weren't flames, they were lights.
Oh, lights, yes. I'm picturing rocket engines, but yes.
Yeah,
yes,
no. None of this works through the engines that we have today on our rockets. It's completely different technology. So back to what I said in terms of the UFO, I said the number 18 also stands out in the document as well. And the number 18 in Hebrew represents life. The word for life in Hebrew is chai. It's made of 2 letters. And those 2 letters in something called gematria, which is an alphanumeric code that translates Hebrew letters to Hebrew numbers, adds up to 10 and 8, which is 18. So there are actually just to elaborate on what you said with the 12 and the 1 and all of that, there's 18 lights around the entire pyramid when it's activated. There's one coming out of the apex, which I know many are familiar with because it's in many drawings that I see. There's another 4 that come out of each vertex of the base. There's 12 on the bottom in a circle representing the zodiac, because the pyramid is highly connected to the zodiac energetically. And there's one light in the middle of that circle representing the divine, the one, the God. Again, not religiously, but spiritually, that oneness that connects all is and will be. Now, if you add up those numbers, 1 on top, 4 vertices, 12 in a circle, and 1 in the center, that's 18. And there's a reason for that. It stands for life. Now, if you go back to the number of pyramids that the document states that there were before the Exodus, it's 666,666. Now, people call that satanic or the devil, and I'll explain what's going on here. First of all, 666 is not evil. It's the opposite. It's live. It's 18. 666 equals 18. What I think, and this is my theory, that has been going on, especially, for hundreds of years already, if not thousands, is numbers that are actually beneficial to humanity have been disguised as evil to suppress us. And 666 is not the only one. There's also 13. 13 is not in any elevator for the most part in any building around the world because it's considered to be unlucky. 13 represents love energetically. So this whole idea of people, because people did come and say, why 666,666 pyramids? This sounds like the devil. And it's the opposite. Not only is it the opposite, if you take evil and spell it backwards, it spells live. 666 is not evil, it's life.
Now, with this part of it, will there be a time when these certain things, we're talking about physical stuff now. We're not talking about consciousness. We're talking about chambers underneath the pyramids, information underneath the pyramids, laser etched information underneath the pyramids, along with spaceships are mentioned specifically. This is stuff that we can go and search for and find, and specifically, these statements about the Dome of the Rock and what is underneath the Dome of the Rock. This is stuff that we can go and find. Is this something that is going to be found?
Well, first of all, take the Dome of the Rock. That's something nobody's getting out there nobody's getting down there without World War III. Because the only way to get to what we said, the logical way would be to go through that rock, to drill into the foundation stone under the Dome of the Rock. And that would cause for a lot of problems in the world. Now, the pyramids are also highly protected, but forget protected from governments and countries. There's also an energetic defense that the actual pharaoh's body that's mummified, they're there not just because they're tombs, they're buried there to act as an energetic defense for the pyramids. Again, the document states that one of the primary purposes of the pyramids are for protection. As a matter of fact, EMP and EMLP in the pharaonic times was called magia or magen. Magen in Hebrew means shield. So these were technologies that were used, both physical and spiritual technologies, like the preservation of the pharaoh's energetic radiance of their body, also after their death, which is why they're put in the pyramids, to protect these places so nobody can go and steal them, because if it gets into the wrong hands, can be a lot of damage. Now, the author does state that, if I'm not mistaken, I remember correctly, that there is a possibility that people have gotten there. And it also does state that these technologies are in the hands of, according to his knowledge or his belief, Israel and Russia. He doesn't believe the United States has this technology yet. And he's worried that it may fall into the wrong hands. And my assumption is another reason of why this is all coming out now I mean, one of the only logical conclusions here is that something's going on that needs to be stopped. And there's a very big threat to humanity that we may not be aware of. And the only way to stop it is to make people aware of it. So this may be the beginning of that disclosure process.
Now, all of this sounds like fairy tale, right? 100%. It's too fantastical for most to digest. But for everybody out there that is reading this, they're okay with it, including myself. But there always needs to be evidence, or there needs to be something to confirm this for us personally. Did you go through that?
To the extent that I could, yes. But before I tell you what my evidence was, I want to remind the audience and whoever else may be listening another time of something. This all sounds fairy tale because it isn't yet accepted collectively. But let me give you something else that sounds, in my opinion, a whole lot crazier than the fact that we're the offspring of two different races. The collective narrative today that's accepted and taught in school tells us that we come from a fish that somehow grew legs and started walking on land and started breathing on land that could not breathe on land before, that turned into a lizard that somehow eventually turned into a mammal, to a primate, to an ape, and then to a human. And that's the idea of our evolution. That's what I learned in school. Now, the only reason that doesn't sound crazy is because we've come to accept it. But if you take the two stories that's being told to you right now, the fact that we came from a fish is a whole lot crazier than the fact that we're the offspring of two races that already looked like us.
Agreed.
So think about that for a second. Before we go into evidence and all of that, it's just look at what's accepted and question what's already accepted and ask yourself, is it really crazy? Or are we just calling it crazy because we're not used to hearing it?
No, it's not crazy at all.
No. So that I just wanted to put it out there for the people that aren't yet on that same page, to show them that what they believe in is just as so-called crazy as what's going on here, if not more.
So what was the evidence that was presented to you?
So first of all, in terms of, there's evidence that's been presented to everybody. There have been experts specifically on things that I've researched just throughout my years of researching for fun.
Sure. But what I'm suggesting here, Jason, is for you to take the leap of talking about this and then hold on. Discussing this with this stranger and then being the person to upload it, right, for download on your site. That's two different things. And for you to cross that line, I know I wouldn't do it, not unless I was shown something. I need a business card from TLS, right? I need something.
Okay, so the reason why I'm comfortable with all of this is because they've proven validation to me in many other aspects of their work, which I'm not at liberty to speak about. That's the truth in terms of things that I've experienced and seen. But everything else allowed me to. I mean, this is
okay. No, we can stop right there. What do you mean? Why can't you tell us about what you had seen?
Just specifically because that's my instruction. There are a few things I'm not allowed to do.
What was it that you saw? Was it something supernatural or paranormal, or was it a document?
No, supernatural.
You had a supernatural experience.
Yes, very physical as well, not channeling and all that.
So was this with an ET being or something else? I
can't speak further into what they are, but.
So what was ET?
Because those are, no, I never said what I've seen, what I've heard, what I've done.
Jason, I'm very good at what I do.
I know. I'm not at liberty to discuss those things.
But it was a paranormal or supernatural type of experience, and it was physical.
Yes.
Now, was this recent? This year, last year?
The main experience that caused me that validated everything for me without going into detail is a meeting that we had on February 6th, which is spoken about in the document.
In this year?
February 6th of 2020, yes.
Okay, and so was this a meeting with other TLS members?
Yes.
And how do you know when somebody says, I just mentioned a TLS business card, right? How do you know if somebody is from TLS?
Well, one of them that's a good question. I'll ask you a different question. How do you know somebody's a part of the CIA if they're undercover? You work with them. They introduce you to other people that they work with, and that's how you know them, right?
I have been around federal agents of different agencies, and I was given a business card. Absolutely, yes, 100%.
But when it deals with undercover operations where people work under different names, you will not be given a business card.
So then you don't know if they're from TLS then?
Of course I know they're from TLS because I've been in the meetings of TLS.
Well, you understand what I'm saying. How do you know they are from TLS? Are you making an assumption or how do you know? I mean, I can assume somebody is in the CIA. I can do that all day long. In fact, I could be in the CIA.
They come, they show you things. This is who we are. This is us, and they show you certain things. Again, I can't speak about certain things in depth, but I'm not even sure how to answer that question because to me it's very logical. There's no business card, but there's the people in front of you that work in the organization.
Right. Okay. And
but you're not going to see like they have offices all around the world. They have offices in New York City. One of their major branches are in New York City with a few hundred people working out of here. But if you walk in there, it's not going to say TLS.
Have you been to this office?
I can't speak about where I've been and what I've done.
Ah, you have been to the office. Is it nice?
I can't speak about what I've been and where I've done.
But is it? I just want to know, is it nice? I imagine it being a very cool place. That's all. Good coffee? Tell me they got good coffee.
I'm allergic to coffee.
Are they?
I'm allergic to coffee.
Now, before we head to the break, I want to talk about
Jimmy. They chose me because when they have a good person like you that knows how to ask questions, you got to be very specific with your answers.
Yes, and when I meet anybody from TLS, first question, coffee. Or we can't move forward. I want to talk.
They may have already been in contact with you, and you would have no idea. You may be one, and I may have no idea.
See, I'm testing you. This is a test. But let's get to Rabbi. Rabbi AA is named in this document, and I didn't think it was going to go that far. You have met Rabbi AA, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Rabbi AA is not human, correct?
No, he's human.
Oh, I thought it said here that Rabbi AA eventually was revealed to be E.T.
No, the author says he thinks, based on his experiences with him in the past, that the only logical conclusion with everything that he's done and what he's able to do is that he's some form of extraterrestrial. But you see him, the guy's a human being.
Okay, I got you. Let's take our break right here. We've got lots more to discuss, and we're going to run out of time. It's funny, Jason, I told you before the show, we're going to run out of time, and I enjoy it when we do. There's so much to talk about. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Jason Shurka. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to getthetea.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's getthetea.com.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRAradio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from Rivermoon. Just click on the Rivermoon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend. Let's face it, you've always wanted to do a sky watch and see your first UFO. Today, it's easy. Just get your own HP7 3B Cobalt Jimmy Church Edition night vision goggles from Hoffman's Optics. This is the same U.S. military system that I use, featuring a Generation 3 blue phosphor image tube. That's right, it's blue, not black and green. This is the only blue system in the world, and it's waterproof, lightweight, combat-proof, simple to use, and ready to go. Hoffman's Optics help create night vision sky watches, and now you can see what everyone has been talking about each night from your own backyard. Just call 760-231-9929. That's 760-231-9929. You can click on the banners on our site or visit UFOnightvisiongoggles.com. That's UFOnightvisiongoggles.com. Go back, Lee Tappy.
This is the only way forward. This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRAradio.com.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer. Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com.
Telepath is a weekly digital newsletter filled with the latest paranormal news, trending topics, and fresh articles from some of the most popular critical thinkers in the community today. Stay informed on your favorite paranormal podcasts and live streaming talk shows. Interact with the Telepath and upload your paranormal story or pics. It could be featured in an upcoming edition. Sign up right now for the free Telepath newsletter at paranormal.radio. That's paranormal.radio.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
All right, welcome back. What a great conversation tonight. Jason Shurka is our guest. We are discussing the document. It is called the Pyramid Code. You can go to Jason's website, jasonshurka.com. We've got the links up in Twitter and throughout social media where you can download the document. It is available in 4 different languages: Hebrew, the original, English, Italian, and Dutch. And it's right there, and it's a free download. And if you really want an insightful read, I encourage everybody to go and check it out. Everything that we're talking about tonight is in the document. There's a lot more there Jason, it's obvious that we are just merely scratching the surface of this document. And now I want to, in this last segment, we may even have to go into overtime, so be prepared for that if we have to. Is this one of the elements of the document that the author goes into? He talks about these missions, right, that he's deployed to do around the world. And I'm picturing, James Bond, we keep referencing, the CIA, right? And there's elements of that here. What is the author going out there doing? What is he tasked with?
Okay, so at the time when he wrote it, he wasn't at liberty to discuss it in depth. However, about, when was it? About a month ago, a little bit over a month ago, I was given permission to disclose some of those missions publicly, which I did. They're on my YouTube channel, and they're intense. But I'll cover them briefly. Are you familiar, Jimmy, with everything regarding the whole Save the Children thing that's going on around the world with the tunnels and whatnot?
As much as I can, but continue.
Okay, so there is a vast underground tunnel system that covers the entire world. It's very old, and there's a lot of things going on there. So I don't want to get too into depth, but the mission that he was speaking of had to do with partly freeing the children from those tunnels, and a mission in New York that I spoke about in depth. They saved about 200,000 children. The mission lasted from the end of March to the beginning of May, if I'm not mistaken. There was another one in Melbourne that was lasted for pretty much the month of June, if I'm not mistaken. No, I'm sorry. It kept going into July. I don't remember all of the dates exactly. But the mission has to do with not only freeing children from these underground satanic tunnel systems that, for those of you that don't know about it, there's a lot of information on my YouTube channel and many other places that you can read about it and watch videos on it. But he was part of a mission of 100 people, 100 TLS agents. It was based out of New York, and the one that he was speaking of when he wrote the document, unfortunately, 6 out of the 100 perished in the mission, and they didn't pull out because of that reason. But after they got to the 200,000 children mark, they did a few other things in those tunnels that they had to do, and that was the New York mission that he was a part of, that he keeps writing, I'm risking my life. This is the most dangerous mission that I've ever taken upon myself. But his specific task, and this I haven't spoken about yet, he's more on the energetic, spiritual side of the organization. So from my understanding, his job, or at least to the extent that I can disclose, is scanning the tunnels to see where there are certain traps, because they use laser technology to secure the tunnels so people can't come and infiltrate the tunnels, to stop them from what they're doing, which is part of what TLS does. And he pretty much detects and checks where these laser booby traps, if you want to call them, are. However, unfortunately, there were 6 agents that died, and they died because of that EMLP, that electromagnetic laser pulsation technology that they use in the tunnel to protect it from people like TLS who are trying to infiltrate the tunnels and put things to an end.
Would he be willing to come on this show?
Absolutely not.
And why not? Why not?
It's hard enough for me to get. First of all, again, I told you, he's not a person that nobody knows. His voice it was hard enough for me to get him on one phone call with somebody, and I don't think that's ever going to happen again. I'll ask him.
Yeah,
he's probably listening right now, Jimmy, and laughing. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important to continue this dialogue, and one of the things and of course, this always puts you in an awkward position, right? Well, here's the document. There's an author, can't be revealed, and everybody always throws up their hands, going, "Oh, here we go again, really." Yeah. But so there's that part of it. But continuing the dialogue on this show would create the interest for everybody out there. This is a large audience. This is not a small audience. To have more people go read the document and continue this conversation. I think that's important. But
the reason why I say absolutely not is because that's not my answer. There were big producers that approached me to say, listen, we'll mask his voice, we'll cover the shape of his body, nobody will know who he is, just his voice. Now I have two questions. Number one, he said absolutely not. But let's say he did that. How do you know it's not just me bringing some guy that's making up a story?
Well,
what type of validation is that? Why is that proof?
Well, that's for me to deal with and the audience.
I got you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, and there's another thing that needs to be addressed again, quite directly, and it is spoken about in the document, and that is the code itself. Just like the author is anonymous, right? Well, you're reading through the document, and it's all great information. It's cool. Let's read through this and see what we can take from it. But the code itself is not revealed and is this secret. Well, that's again to everybody else. How do we approach that?
I'll explain the logic behind it. Is very simple, and I think once I explain it, you'll not only understand it, but you'll agree with it. In the document, it says that in the times of the ancient pharaohs, the pyramid code was not a secret. Everybody had it. It was public knowledge. However, there came a time where the pharaohs and the people in power started abusing their power. And once they started abusing their power, because when you have those codes, they can activate a lot of abilities and power. Once they abused their power, the codes were taken away from the public domain and put into very few hands instead of people that weren't being responsible with it to control the masses, instead of educate and guide the masses. So if the code was revealed today, it was taken away for that purpose. Now, I'll ask you a question, Jimmy. You know how the world works. You know how things are hidden from us and how we're lied to on a mass scale. Do you think that we're in a position collectively to have that in the public domain with such power? Would you be confident that we wouldn't abuse it and use it to destroy us instead of using it to elevate us at this point in time?
Yeah, but we have the same issue with a whole plethora of situations.
Of course.
And that's ET contact or free energy or anti-gravitic technologies and secret programs and everything else that comes into play here, not just with the pyramid code.
100%.
So, yeah. And are we ready for it? You know what? This world has been dealing with secrets and hidden history for a very long time. And until any of this is brought forward, it will continue going down that road. And I think everybody's ready for it. And I'll give you the most beautiful example I can. I think everybody on this planet, and that everybody, educated, non-educated, doesn't matter, can look at the Great Pyramid of Egypt, the pyramids, the Giza Plateau, and go, no, something else is involved here. We didn't build those. Or we were given knowledge on how to build those. But back then, the technology that was around, if we believe historians, then we are fed a lie. And everybody's going to say that. But here's the caveat. How were they built? What is the purpose behind them? How are they built? What is the purpose behind them? And if that answer is revealed, then everything is opened up and other dogmas crumble. And we can now move forward as a human race. Keeping the pyramid code hidden, or the answers to what is behind those great structures on the Giza Plateau, is that just going to remain there? No. If I had the pyramid code, if I had it, I'm doing a press conference. I'm going public. There's no reason to hold it back. There isn't.
First of all, the author actually agrees with you as well. The reason why he didn't want to put out the document was because he says, why would I put out a document if I can't give the code to activate what we're talking about? What's the point? And I have a little bit of a different approach, and I guess TLS does as well, because they did it that way. Again, first of all, I agree with everything that you're saying. And I can even agree with you that everybody that's listening to this right now is probably ready for it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have chosen to listen to this information. But collectively on the planet, there are a lot of people that are not ready for it. Now, when it's going to come, I don't know, but I could tell you one thing. The fact that TLS decided to come out to the light for the first time last month, the fact that this document, the Pyramid Code, is out in the public domain, the fact that these things are even being spoken about, it's like before you get the code, first you have to be told that there is a code. So the document in and of itself, and you said this yourself, is a lot to digest. So before the code is given, this is my belief, because this is what I told the author when he said, I don't want to put it out if I can't give out the code. And I told him over and over again, the document in and of itself is difficult to digest. So you want to throw two bombs at people? You want to throw a document that is very difficult to digest on top of codes of how to activate certain things? You're going to blow somebody's mind. Give it a second. That's why I agree with the way that it's going on, because disclosure must happen in an orderly fashion. Now, does that mean, I don't know when the codes are going to come out. I don't have the codes myself. But my motive behind this, of putting the document out and taking that upon myself, is because this is one step closer to receiving the codes. Now, whether that's in a month, a year, 10 years, or 50 years, I have no idea. All I know is that it is one step closer, and what will be next and what will happen next will happen.
Well,
but I do think it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, well, of course it is. Everything is a step in the right direction, especially with a document like this. But my concern is always for the community first.
Yes.
Right? And the community and the world in general has read documents like this and books and people out there with this great information and let's figure out humanity and how to love one another and move forward. I've often stated, Jason, as you know, I walk around with flowers hanging out of my pocket, but I will also defend this community. And 100%. What the community can't go through is another letdown where something like this comes along, things are stated here, and then it just disappears and goes away. There needs to be these concrete, because we need to push the dominoes over. We need to start tumbling these dominoes. And if this document is what it is, and the author is who he is, and the rabbi is who he is, and Egyptian history is what it is as stated in this document, then let's go. It's go time.
Well, it's happening. It's happening, but it doesn't happen overnight.
You brought up Ancient Aliens, and the success of Ancient Aliens and this program, Fade to Black, and others, is because right now this planet is ready. They are seeking these answers. The questions are laid out there. There's too much of the past that is completely unexplained, and that is the success of it. So if the pyramid codes are real, the pyramid code is real, then the time is now. It's not tomorrow. It's not yesterday. It's right now in the now.
Jimmy, I hope they're listening to you, because I'm with you. I hope that that's the case.
Well, with 2020 being what it is, yeah. and the crisis and turmoil, heartache, and emotional distress that has been put on every man, woman, and child on this planet is unacceptable. And we need to turn all of this stuff around. And something like this with this document will help heal and will 100%. Give people the answers moving into 2021.
100%. 100%. No, I completely agree with you. Again, I know that they're listening. I just hope that they take what you say into consideration, because it's something that I say over and over and over again as well. What I could tell you, I don't have the codes myself, so I can't talk about the code because I don't have it. But what I could tell you is the people that you're dealing with here, from what I've seen and what I've experienced, do incredibly divine work. And if there's one thing that I can say with confidence, they know what they're doing. They're not doing, because you said something very important. You said you're here to defend the community. They're here to defend the community as well. And they're not holding something back to hurt anybody. They're holding something back to help somebody.
Well, yeah, and what if I'm sure if TLS is the organization that this document says that it is, then they are listening to this program.
Now, by the way, Jimmy, I'm sorry to cut you off, but when you're saying we're ready, 2 days ago, my family told me that they want to put me in a mental institution.
Sure.
There are people that are not ready. Most people are not ready. We just happen to be a part of a community where everybody's like-minded and into all of this. But our community, the truth of the matter is that we're small compared to the general population.
No, and that's where I will disagree with you. The amount of coverage in the mass media, not with Ancient Aliens, I'm talking about CNN, Fox, BBC, RT, every Sky News, every major media outlet, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the every Los Angeles Times, every major media organization on this planet has been covering ET, UFOs, contact, fast radio burst, exoplanets for the last 3 years. The entire planet is well aware of the UFO question. This is no longer limited to this program and UFO conferences. It's way out of the bag now.
No, what's limited to this program are the type of people that take that information in. So the mass, this is my opinion at least, the mass media, you're right, when the Pentagon came out with those UFO videos that they validated and confirmed a few months ago, for one day it was on every single media outlet in the world, and then they never spoke about it again. But the general population of people look at it, half of them think it's like, okay, what is that? The other half is like, okay, we don't know what to do with this. We're just going to move on. The difference of this community, of our community, I can call it, because thankfully I'm beginning to be a part of this beautiful community, is that we're not just listening to that news. We're saying they're here, they're with us, and this is what we can do with that information. So the application of the information is also important. It's not just enough for somebody. And by the way CNN and CNBC and Fox News puts it out is still as they put it in quotes, like it's a conspiracy. They're not sitting here saying there are aliens. They say supposedly there's some craft, which by the way can totally, a UFO, the out can be, it doesn't have to be an alien. It can be just an underground government project. Anybody can denounce it as that. So that's not proof. There's never going to be definitive proof until we're ready to receive something as definitive proof. Because again, even if somebody shapeshifted in front of you, even if somebody levitated in front of you, the out can be they either put something in your water to make you hallucinate, or they're a very good illusionist. There is always some form of saying why that's not correct. And that's why it has nothing, it's not all about what's being reported, but how people are receiving it that matters. And that's where I agree with you. We're making huge shifts in terms of the information that's being covered and disclosed. But listen, I think that if tomorrow you suddenly saw pyramids flying and those codes were given to the public, you would have a lot. Before we get there, you first have to deal with people allowing and accepting the fact that their foundations are going to shatter. Because most people, their foundations are going to shatter. And that will become a good thing after they accept it. But before there's some sort of, I forgot the quote, but it's pretty much before truth is accepted, it's always antagonized, always. And if truth is put out in the public domain where you put power in people's hands that want to antagonize something, you can have a very big problem. It can be dangerous.
Yeah, I don't. I think that although I agree in principle with everything that you just said, but there is a definite flip side to this. And I think that as the humans on this planet grow up and mature and become smarter, because that's what's part of what we do, we get smarter every single day, that the view of ET and life in the universe is different than it was just 5 years ago or 10 years ago, let alone 50 years ago. And if you 100%. Go up to just about anybody on this planet and go, hey, are we alone in this universe? They're going to say, of course not. There's way too much out there. There's too many planets. There's too many stars. There's too many things. Yeah. There is life everywhere. I think that's generally accepted. If pyramids started flying tomorrow, I don't think there's a freak out. I think the general attitude is going to be, of course. We were wondering what was going on there. We knew something special was happening out there. Okay. All right, and we'll have 15 minutes of sensationalism, and then we've got to get back to what life is about, and it will help to answer those questions about where we came from, why are we here, and where are we going, and there you go. Bring on the code, man. Bring it on.
Listen, first of all, you bring up a good point. I agree with you that most people. And I think they even did a study to show that most people at this point do agree that we're not alone. That I'm with you. So listen, with everything that you just stated, I agree. And again, I hope you're being listened to. I hope you're being considered. And I hope that in due time, whenever that is, I hope sooner rather than later. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I hope that these things are revealed because we need it, man. We can't keep going down the route that we're going. I refuse to live in a world that looks like the world that we live in today. I'd rather not be here.
Yeah. And we got to get 2020 behind us. No question about it. Very excited about New Year's Eve this year because 2021 is got to be nothing but magic. Jason, thank you for the conversation tonight. And keep rolling that rock uphill. You've got some big challenges in front of you. How can everybody reach out? Where can they buy your books?
Okay, so in terms of the Pyramid Code, you said it's on my website. My books, if you're interested, they're also on my website. Again, I'll say, and it says on the website, all of the profits that come from those books, which are pretty much none because it cost me a lot to publish them, are going all to donation and charity. It has nothing to do with what I keep for myself. You can follow me on Instagram. It's just my name, Jason Shurka. YouTube, you can find me on my channel, Jason Shurka. And that's pretty much it. I have a question for you, Jimmy, real quick.
Sure.
Just because I'm curious. I know you said your birthday is on 10/10.
Mm-hmm.
About a week and a half ago, I decided, I think I woke up and I'm like, you know what? We should do a global meditation. And I set up a Facebook, which, by the way, is also Jason Shurka. For the first time about 10 days ago, I opened a global meditation event with a good friend of mine, Lori Ladd. And we've already reached, I think, 350,000 people. I have no idea how it happened, but people from all around the world on your birthday are going to be meditating for 10 minutes at the same time from 10 o'clock to 10:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, with the intention set to bring in this new age of readiness, or the age of love, a whole lot quicker.
I'll tell you something else. I'm going to tell you something else crazy.
Yeah.
On my birthday, on 10/10, we are also doing a mass meditation, and which will start at around 12 noon, and that is being broadcast around the world too. So everybody's going to feel the vibrations in 5 days.
Oh, I love it. Can I, one quick thing, what's your birth year?
1963.
1963 is also, no, 1963 is 19, which is also 10. There you go. 1 plus 9 is 10. You got 10, 10, 10.
Yes. I've been told that many times. Thank you so much, Jason. What a great conversation. And again, I want everybody to go and download the document over at jasonshurka.com. We have the links up in Twitter. It is a fantastic read. Jason, I want you to enjoy the rest of your night and the rest of your week. If you need anything, reach out.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. We'll keep in touch.
Great conversation. jasonshurka.com. The links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. All right, I'm going to take a quick break. Whew, what a conversation. Have you read the document? I'm going to open up the phone lines right now. 747-228-2051. What have you got to say? I'll be right back. Stay with us.
Listen to my boy, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at jimmychurchradio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hello, my name is Billy Carson, and I am a best-selling author and the founder of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Together with my team, we have built an all-new conscious streaming TV platform designed with every family member in mind. If you have ever wanted to travel the world and attend lectures and workshops from your favorite speakers but weren't able to, look no further. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. There are dozens of workshops and lectures from speakers you know and love. We have also included amazing categories to assure that your consciousness is entertained and elevating on a daily basis. Amazing interviews, ancient history, ascension knowledge, wisdom teachings, documentaries, conspiracies, mysteries, health and fitness, conscious cooking, meditations, finance, yoga, and so much more. To start your free trial on any mobile device or computer, surf to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4, ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Again, visit ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
This is Kristen, Shurka, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to jimmychurchradio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRAradio.com.
This is KJCR at jimmychurchradio.com.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Open lines right now, 747-228-2051. 747-228-2051. And, the document is a great read. I would recommend this to everybody. Just head over to jasonshurka.com. You can download it. It is in 4 different languages. And so choose the language of your choice and read through it. It's 44 pages. There's a lot there. I like wordy documents. This is all of that, right? So now there's a lot of things when I approach everything with an open mind. Everybody knows that. And when I get a document like this is the kind of stuff I am chasing down. I am constantly looking for something new and a fresh perspective. This document gives you all of that. There are things presented in this document, especially when it comes to the pyramids, the pharaohs, and the history of Egypt, that are not the way that is commonly presented out there on all aspects. Of course, you have the direct historical aspect of it and what we read in textbooks and things. And then you have the other side where you have researchers that have looked at all different aspects of the history of Egypt and the pharaohs and the construction of different sites throughout Egypt, including the Giza complex. So you have that all kinds of ideas and theories put out there. Was the pyramid a weapon? Was the pyramid an energy source? Was the pyramid used to communicate with? Was the pyramid used to teleport, to transport? There's all kinds of theories and ideas out there. So go and read the Pyramid Code. Check it out. And remember this. It is a document that we spoke about this pretty directly tonight. The document's author is writing about his past lives that started with his birth in Egypt, life number 1, and reincarnation. So that is what his jobs, what he did, how he traveled. I think he at one point ended up in Israel. So just check out all of that. And now what is presented on the other side, what is underneath the pyramid, the hidden chambers, what is there, all of it is laid out in the document. The other half of the document, half of it is relating directly to aliens, extraterrestrial civilizations that arrived here on Earth, and the north, south, east, west aspect of the pyramids and its relation to the North Star, the polar star, and why it was positioned there is in the document, and then the directions of when I say directions, literally north, south, east, and west, where these different ET leaders went throughout the planet and established different cultures around the world. That is in there. And then the final part of the document is about the here and now and spirituality and consciousness and what we need to achieve as a civilization currently on this planet. It's a great read. It's a great read. So go and check it out. Just go to jasonshurka.com. The links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. And I think we have direct links to the download itself in Twitter. If you want to follow me on Twitter, at JChurchRadio. We have it there also in hashtag F2B, the Sandbox. With that, the phone lines are open, 747-228-2051. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hello, Jimmy. What's up? Joe from Staten Island.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
I'm great, Jimmy. Hey, listen, I took a nice retirement last week. How does that sound?
Say that again?
I'm retired. No more security, brother.
Oh, you've retired, which means you just listened to tonight's show with no interruptions.
I loved it. He's great. I definitely, I don't know about the TLS, did he say? But, you know, I don't want to get into this topic really, but I do kind of a feeling that, like, the things I've been going through personally, though, some awarenesses I've been observed in some way as well. I know in the sense that I've been going through sort of a private initiation myself over the past year, you know, and definitely a call to service for, you know, good and so on. So whatever that means, whoever's listening, if you guys are, you know, involved, you know, a little heads up, hello wouldn't be a bad idea. But I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah,
go
anyway. Yeah, go and download the document and read through it. It's a great read. It's a long read. This is not quick. There's a lot to absorb there, but go and download it and read through it and give me a call back and let me know what you think.
I have a sighting tonight, though. I saw a sighting in my neighborhood.
You had a UFO sighting?
Yes.
What happened?
Well, you know, I'm the kind of guy, you know, I don't worry about being so safe. So I decided to take a nice stroll this evening. Early, actually. Nice, brisk, cool night where you can see all the stars in the sky. It's nice and clear, right? So I'm watching Sirius, you know, the dog star, right? There's another star next to it. But then there's like a really bright, what I thought was a star, right? So I'm watching it, right? I'm like, it's heading out towards over the Atlantic. It's going east, you know, basically. More or less. I don't know if they know east up there, but whatever. Anyway, I see this really bright star, as bright as Sirius, right? But then I'm watching it. It seems to be moving. So wait a minute, I took a double take. Maybe my eyes are tired, right? It's kind of moving. And then, you know, somehow it's moving and moving slowly. And then it got smaller and smaller and smaller and just like disappeared.
And that's it?
Well, what could I say? Nobody came and said hello, but that's it. What do you want from me? It wasn't a daylight sighting, but hey, it was a thing.
How long did it last?
I'd say about 15 to 20 seconds.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a real sighting.
Oh, it's cool. I mean, it's one of those brisk, cool fall nights where the sky's nice and clear, you know, no clouds or, you know, in the fog or in the humidity or whatever. Like the summer, you can't see too much. It's a little foggy, especially around the water, you know. But I love it when this weather, it's nice and cool and brisk here. And the sky's clear, and you can see the stars, you know.
Well, what's
and
most...
boy, oh boy.
Yeah. What's most important is... and especially when something like that happens, you looked at the right place at the right time and saw it. Had you been looking somewhere else for those 15 seconds, you miss it. And when you look at the right place at the right time and see something like that, I often think, Joe, it was done just for you. Something made you look, and you saw. Well, you know what it
was, Jim? I kind of know what I could tell you what it was. You know, with all this COVID crap and things going on and all the grief, I'm feeling very healthy now. My mind is becoming very, very much, I was led by the emotion, you know, they call it the emotional body, you know. And, you know, there's some value to that, and that's part of us as well. But now I'm going more into the mental where I do things that are willful and thoughtful. And I'm pulling things together, and things are getting clear and getting clarity. And I said, you know what, years ago, well, not years, but so many months ago, I worked overnights. And I said, look up in a bright, clear sky, look at the stars. And I said, you know, I haven't really looked at the stars in a long time. And I looked up and I saw Sirius, you know, I'm just like being, you know, I was really enjoying it, you know, for lack of better words. There's no words for it, really. But then I'm just watching. I see like this third star, you know. It's just like amazing, you know. It was like that's where we all have to come to. I know a lot of people are still, you know, in the fear and the emotion and what's going to happen tomorrow thing and all that. But you know, you come to a point where like, hey, whatever's going to be, whatever political regime takes over, whatever party, hey, you got to roll with it, you know. I think Trump is, you know, kind of, I don't want to be political, but you mentioned it earlier. I think since the COVID thing, it's such bad optics that even if he's the greatest guy in the world, which a lot of people here think he is, I think it's really toast. I think it's done. I mean, you know, I'll cast my vote and all that, but, you know, and I'm not being political. I'm just saying, you know, something happened that I don't even think the electors would vote for him because he didn't win the popular, you know, last time. I don't even think the electors, like, such bad optics. How can you have somebody where you have him, his wife, 10 of his staff, and you know what I'm saying? It's like, it looks so bad. It's like like a Richard Nixon, you know? He wasn't the worst person in the world, but the way he was set up even back then, what could he do but resign? You know what I mean? I think the game is over, and that for those that follow that type of, you know, let's say, position, you know?
Well,
it's sad, but
yeah. Listen. As you know, I don't do politics on the show, but and everybody that listens to this show and follows this show, they avoid it too because they know that that's not what I do here. But it's very difficult today for anybody to try to hold back emotionally and start talking about it when they know I don't do it, and they know that the Fadernauts don't do it. They don't do it in Twitter. They don't do it on the show, and we avoid. But it's very difficult to keep your emotions in check and not. You can't help but eventually mention it. So I appreciate that from you, Joe. The other side of this is I really want you to go and download the Pyramid Code document. Take the time to do it.
Jim, right after I get off, I'm going right to your site, and I'm going to it's free, right? It's all free
yeah.
That's cool. That's good. I will read it. Don't worry about that one.
All right, and I'll talk to you soon. Yourself. You too, Joe.
And you guess what's crazy? He's in New York. He's in Navy. You know, and I can understand when they said his family wanted to commit him to a mental institution because I kind of went through the same thing, you know?
Yep, I do.
I've been there too. So, you know, I've been through the changes over the year, you know, as I checked in and so on. So,
have a great,
real long, strange trip it's been, you know, like John Lennon said, you know.
Have a great night, Joe. And thank you for the phone call, and go Beckley Tepe. The other parts of the Pyramid Code that it's like this, and especially for me, is when I'm reading something like this, and I've the amount of books and research and things that I've gone through, I can get about 90% usually of knowledge, and it's coming at me. And I would say the reason why I say the number's always about 90% because it's new information, and I'm filing it away and moving forward. Then there's always that like 10% where I don't want that 10%, that part where I step back and go, oh no, this is killing it for me. I don't want that 10% to take away from the other 90% that I really enjoyed and I learned something from, right? I don't want that to happen. It happened to me a couple of times with the Pyramid Code. But the organization, TLS, which it says in the document, 7,000 members around the world and offices and locations and throughout cities and everything. How is it that somebody like me in my position, including you in your position, where you guys are smarter than I am and you're doing research, I can name a subject and I can get the facts up in Twitter in a matter of seconds because there's so many brilliant people in this community and that are part of this audience. And so when you are and you step back, and when it comes to something like TLS, how is it that I am hearing about this for the first time? Been around for a couple of thousand years, and I'm just now learning about this? Has it always been called TLS? And why is it? I don't want that to deflate what is in the pyramid code, in the document. And everybody understands exactly what I'm saying right now. So then there is this. When we look at our system of law, our court system, and one thing that is out in front and center, you can have a witness on the stand that is asked 100 questions. 99 are truthful, fact, and backed up. One question out of those 99, he lies about or she lies about. And then, therefore, the jury is instructed. Everything else is thrown out that's it. All the rest of the testimony because one lie, right? One thing. I try to not go there with everything else. So with something like this document where TLS is there, I'm talking about for me personally. How is it that I've never heard of TLS? How is that possible? It's been around for a couple of thousand years or longer, as stated in the document. I have strong issues with that. So, TLS, if you're listening, you've got my email address. You certainly have my phone number. There are ways to reach out to me. I would suggest doing just that. I would reach out to me and just go, okay, this is what's going on. Here's this, and this. I don't need names, dates, and places, But if you are going to help the situation, for me, where I can go, oh, okay, well, they reached out, and this is what happened. Okay, I would strongly suggest that. But anyway, everybody just go jasonshurka.com. The document itself is a great read. TLS also. Now, this is the thing, and I'll get to calls in just a second. There are plenty of organizations out there I've never heard of. There are plenty of organizations and families and groups that run under the radar, and they do that intentionally, and I am not supposed to know. I get that. But in this world, in this community, and with the way this document is written, TLS is something I should know I should have heard about. So with that, let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, it's Paul from south of Detroit. How you doing, Jimmy?
I'm doing good, Paul. How are you?
Yeah, real quick. I love the story today, and I've told you a lot of things. I just got a couple of quick comments, and then one thing I wanted to tell you. I called you and told you about the little the Dog Lady Island in Monroe. The street that it's actually on, it wasn't Dunbar. It was LaSalle Road. LaSalle Road, L-A-S-A-L-L, LaSalle Road. And it's pretty cool. I sent some things on it about Facebook. I love this time of year. We all love it for Halloween. I'm looking forward to it. I totally want to get the because I'm very picky about we all watch taps and these little haunted things, but I'd love to see just you, Jimmy, like going around that corner and you get those chills, oh man, did we hear something? Oh crap, something just tapped me on my back. So I'm totally down for that. I can't wait to watch this, especially for Halloween. I'm so happy you're doing that, And if Rita joined you, that's great too. My second thing is, I told you, about my first UFO experience and how I think they're over, the Great Lakes. And well, one of the first experiences I saw, and I don't know if I talked about this particular one, I was on Lake Erie on the beach, and I saw multiples, probably 12 or 13 little lights, whatever we want to call them, UFOs, shooting one after another, after another, after another. And that night is the night that I got kind of like, I was younger, I was into Tesla and that kind of stuff, and just for whatever reason, I had the idea to, and this is where I'm going with this, to go down to the beach and start doing tests with sand and water. A couple of weeks ago, you did a story about how when lightning hits sand and water, it makes some kind of compound. Well, I think Tesla was really into that stuff. I think a lot of these guys were. And that's why I'm going to go with this about the pyramids. I think that's why all the desert is made of sand. And the Nile was probably a lot more water back then. And if we're going to, for some reason, I've just had it put to me that in the whole universe, wherever there's sand, wherever there's water, there's life. That's what they use to travel. And it's up to us to figure it out. And I think that's going to be part of the code. That's how they travel. That's how they use their spaceships. That's how they use their and that's just what I've kind of been, like telepathically told, whatever you want to call it. Not so much a dream. I had a lot of knowledge about this in the late 90s. But I'm looking forward to seeing you on your ghost hunt, and I wanted to wish you happy fall. And what do you think of that, Jimmy?
Yeah, and thank you for that, Paul. I'm excited about it. Going out with a top, one of the top paranormal teams in the country on the Queen Mary is the perfect scenario. And look, I've talked about this so much on the air, and everybody knows my position with this. And so finally, for all of you to go on a ghost hunt with me live, with multiple cameras and going to the most haunted rooms and hallways and everything else on the Queen Mary is exciting. Am I nervous? Yes. Am I scared? Of course. This is what an adventure is all about. And we get to do all of this together. It's scheduled. I think we're going to do this for about 4 hours. Okay, 4 hours. Wow. And in complete darkness, we're going to have all the gear, and I'm going to bring my night vision goggles too as well. I want to be able to look down these long passageways and these long hallways and things with night vision. And I don't know what they're going to have, all the gear and all the meters, all the ghost boxes and all of those things. They're going to have that, and in infrared and FLIR, and so we're going to have all of that. But night vision, right? Yeah. Because we are going to be in the dark. I'm excited about this, and we're going to be able to do all of this together. When it's live, that's when things, if they're going to happen to me, that's when they will happen. So I'm going to be doing that with all of you. Thank you for the phone call, Paul. And with that, I have got to get out of here. What a great conversation tonight with Jason Shurka. The pyramid code is right there, jasonshurka.com, and you can go and download it. Also, the Queen Mary that Paul was just referencing, we have links and banners over at jimmychurchradio.com. We've got the links up in social media. Use the promo code Jimmy when you click on that link, and you're going to get a discount. It's a 4-day event, and I will be there on Friday, the night before Halloween. Okay? And there you go. You have full cameras, access to the entire ship and all of the haunted rooms and everything else that goes along with it. I am going to get out of here. I want to remind everybody what's going down tomorrow night right here on Fade to Black. Ron Keel. Ron Keel with me for the full show tomorrow night. It's going to be great. Until then, always remember, Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Camarion. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboys, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. Syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2020 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. They cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Until tomorrow night with Ron. Everybody to be safe. Go Beckley Tepe.